Hello, everyone. Thank you for your support of Indie Agency News. And let's meet an indie agency. We are going to the volunteer state, but we're not going to Nashville. We're not going to Knoxville. We're going to Chattanooga, baby. David Littlejohn, Chief Magician of Humanaut. So are you native? I don't know if I asked you that. Are you native?
It depends how you define native. I hear that you grew up wherever you had your first beer.
Oh, okay.
So I moved to Chattanooga when I was 16. So I'm in that.
No, that counts.
And then I left for a long time, worked at a bunch of, spots, and then I landed back. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. First beer, that tracks. That's fine. God, I'm trying to think what that would make. Yeah. Well,
where'd you grow up?
I was born outside of Minneapolis and then moved to suburban Philly when I was 12. And then college in Denver, and then I've been in Portland 33 years. I identify as a Northwesterner.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. Now, give me the backstory on the agency, how the whole thing even got kicked off.
Oh, wow. It's like starting an ad agency in Chattanooga, Tennessee is not probably the smartest business decision that anybody would ever make, because we have, at the time, right, no talent really pool here. We have no clients really in Chattanooga. It's just a beautiful place that I wanted to live. Mm-hmm. And so then I was freelancing, and I almost say in Chattanooga, you can kind of accidentally start a company, which is kind of what happened. I got a couple clients. Those clients needed some additional support. I kind of hired a couple designers. I had a little space, and I'm like, I think I've got an agency. And then I was so lucky that, I basically got to reconnect with my former, boss, Alex Bogusky, and kind of mentor. And he said, I'd love to help you do this thing. And I said, wow. Okay. And so Alex, I had a business partner that I started with, a good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And Alex came in as, an investor, and was like the best mentor you could possibly have. We joked that it was like picking up the bat phone, if you ever, just as a young agency owner. But man, I will say, I was 31 when I started Humanaut. I had no clue what I was doing. I'd never been a creative director at a big agency before. I'd, kind of been like an associate creative director. And the benefit of Chattanooga and starting was just like, we really got to learn everything by trial and error. Yeah. And then it forced us to do a lot of things differently. In that, like, for one, it was a pain in the ass to do productions. I didn't want to travel all over. And so we ended up starting our own production company. Right. So here we are in our 12th year, if you can believe it.
Wow.
I know. Just have a really amazing roster of better for you brands. One of the things that's always been different about us is I'm basically just very stubbornly selfish, in that, like, if I don't want to work on it or think that the world needs to hear about it, we don't work on it. Right. And so we had a rule early on that was like, if we couldn't recommend the product to our mom or give it to our kids, like, we don't want to work on it. And so that kind of focused us, and we got really good at basically doing really fun, provocative, playful, even funny, creative for these sort of do-gooder, better for you brands. And so we had some really early hits out of the gates that some people still remember. Save the Bros for Organic Valley, and some of these other viral videos that we made. And that was sort of our early rocket ship that propelled us to kind of where we are today.
Yeah. What was the name? Oh God, this was it might have been when I was at the Drum, maybe. It was the Half Pop Popcorn.
Oh yeah, the Half-Pocalypse. We did a campaign where.
What was the name of that brand? Was it
Half Pops?
It was Half Pops.
Half Pops, Half Pop Popcorn. You still remember? Look at that.
So good. It was so good.
Wow. Well, the popcorn and hopefully the work too. But
the work. It was all great. Yeah,
it was. That was back. See, the world has changed. One of the benefits of being an indie agency is you can evolve every year with kind of what is happening. But I used to back when Humanaut started, like, we would tell clients, like, you you can get shares. So like make it really good and people will share it. And we can't guarantee they're going to share it, but design it to be shared. And so we had a lot of really awesome, fun, early viral work. We do like 2, 3, 4-minute videos. We'd run them as skippable ads. So people would watch the first 5 seconds, but then they'd watch like 3 minutes. So the Halfpocalypse, for those watching that don't remember the deep cuts of our work, is the preposterous premise was half pops thought that talk about being before your time, that the AI apocalypse was coming and robots were going to take over the world.
Right.
And they were screwed because all they knew how to do was to make popcorn snacks. Right. And so if they were going to stay alive, they needed to team up with developers and programmers who could, program and defeat the robots. And so they were going to deliver half pop snacks to developers. They would form a union and together they'd stay alive. And so we created this whole puzzle that developers had to crack this literal programming code. It was wild. If they did, they got this huge apocalypse half pops box full of all their snacks for all these dev teams and stuff. So it was super wild and really fun. I'm glad you remember that.
Yeah, I remember the kids said, "When are we going to get more of that?" And I was like, "I think we're done. I think we got the big box of it, and just enjoy it." So you've touched on a couple of things. What would you say? You've got obviously the core strengths, and every agency has a list of things that they do well. But a couple of things, few things rise to the top. You've mentioned just the horse sense of the way that you approach all of this. What are a couple of other things that you would say are core strengths?
Yeah. So one thing that we're getting, really good at and understanding, because as you know, right, the marketing landscape has to change as fast as the world is changing.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate reality is in the last 5 years, like it's been insane change. And very few brands and agencies have been able to sort of keep up with this playbook. Meanwhile, you've got brand managers struggling with like 5 different agencies now. And so we just see, because I get a front row seat to all of these great brands and to see inside the house. And Humanauts, for the most part, we're project-based. So we're actually very flexible, where we're like, we'll work with you however. So we get an inside view. And all to say to answer your question is we've just really realized nobody is building equity in a true story that matters anymore.
Right.
And it's just a lot of this trend and switching campaigns over and over again. And so we're telling brands like, look, you need to be a character in a real life story. And there's an injustice that we're fighting, and that we're showing up and we're doing something that when people see us do it, they have this emotional response.
Right.
And we're getting out of campaign mindset. But all that to say is I think our core strengths are giving people a platform that they can invest in for a long time. And that platform is designed to break through and create emotion. So a lot of our work, it's built on a very deep human need and a real injustice that we're actually like out in the world and fighting. We're not just telling, quicker picker upper stories in the category. It's like we're finding some really deep emotional needs. And to me, that's about helping brands matter. Like, there's just a lot of the stuff that people sell, the world just doesn't actually need. It's like
right.
And so we're so lucky that I get to work with these often founders or still very passionate challenger brands. And it's like, people need to know about you. Like you are a way better, healthier, better for you, better for the world. And so, but I also say any brand today, even the big ones, like, we even work with big brands like Secret Deodorant on their natural line. Everybody's realizing we need to step up our game. We need to start actually being something that matters. And what's crazy is to watch how quickly brands can erode. Like that's been the scary thing is like, in 5 years, like I haven't heard about you. You haven't done anything interesting. You haven't come across my feed in an authentic way. So we have a system designed to build in meaning to brands so that when they show up, there's an emotional connection. Because at the end of the day, nobody makes rational decisions. We make emotional decisions, and then we rationalize them later. So we have a really crazy in-depth process to build in this sort of surprise and meaning that just makes work great. And I think
like that.
all of us in this industry are like, where's the good work? Like that, like it's hard to find.
I see a lot of it in the indies. I'm just saying.
Exactly. That's where people care a lot,
Let's talk about why being independent is important. Why is it important to you, and why is it important to your team?
Wow. Yeah. And I appreciate you. I'll just say, like, just creating this platform and being a champion of this is so important. So props to you.
Thank you.
But I mean, I would say it's paramount to our identity and everything we are, because we say no a lot to brands that just don't align with what we want to do and our values, and it's they kind of say, right, it's like it's a principle isn't a principle until it costs you money. And I think indie agencies are the only ones that can actually say no. Like basically these other shops, like it has to be yes, it's we have to make money. And then the other thing is, I'll say this, I look at the reason our work is great and our relationships are great with our clients. Again, we're project-based, and we have worked with brands like Organic Valley for 10 years in a row.
Right.
It's like, you don't need the retainer necessarily to like keep you married if you can keep the relationship honest and evolve. And, so we're trying to build these long-term pathways for brands, but this is something I just find very rare, because when our clients hear it, they've never heard it, but we can just tell brands the truth in the sense that, like, I'm trying to solve your problem. Like, and what happens is you just get a lot of brand managers and people on the other side of the brand, and they've all lost sight of the problem, and they're all just kind of trying to stay alive, keep their jobs, make sure they save face, and no one's trying to solve the problem anymore. And so, what I do and my team is I empower my team. I'm like, just say the truth. Just say, if their strategy sucks, if what they're coming to you makes no sense, like we gotta tell them. And so we will often be able to say the hard truths and risk the relationship, because what we find is, like, when you, and we do, I will purposely sometimes I don't mind polarizing our client to go, you're either going to like this conversation or not. And if you don't, then you're not going to like Humanaut. So now would be a time for us to part ways, because the benefit of being in business 12 years is, like, we know what we're doing. We know how long it should take. We know how much it costs. And it's so funny because clients come to us and they're like, okay, guys, we got to go fast. We got to do this. And it has to be here. And we go, this sounds like a recipe for failure. So why don't you go work with someone else on this and come back when you're ready to take time? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, no, because every agency is going like, oh yes, okay, we've lined up and we got our whole team, we're ready to go. And I'm like, this sounds unfun for anyone. Like, why would I sign myself or my team up for a clusterfuck? So
No, you can.
It's like, and so it's just, and clients, I'll just tell you though, they're like, and I know that because I've seen it enough, and I've seen it happen more than they have. And so the reality is, they go like, thank you for telling me what no one would tell me, which is that like, I guess what, they haven't done it before sometimes, or they've come from a different world, and now they're in this, smaller startup-y challenger brand world. And it's like, the numbers don't work the same way, and the budgets don't work the same way. The timing doesn't work the same way. And so anyway, all to say is, Humanaut's been able, because we're indie, to summarize, I've been able to protect us from working with brands that are kind of like destroying the world, for one, that lets us all sleep at night. And two, we have longer timelines. Like we're able to say, this doesn't fit the process that we've created. It's a rigorous process to ensure success, to ensure creativity. And so we've protected all creatives out there can resonate with, like, wow, when have I ever had time to do my job well? And as an agency owner, I've been able to say, you know what, we're going to make sure we have the time to do it well. Otherwise, we'd rather not do it.
Yeah.
And that is a luxury. That is.
Well, it is a luxury, but I also think it makes the most sense, because it's that thing of, you know, if you do something and then you have to spend all this time clawing it back, and then it just takes away the focus from everything. So no, I get it. I completely get it. I mean, we're in a similar boat where it's, yeah, well, you know, we're gonna get to some things, but we want to do it right. So it's gonna take us a little time to develop it, and then we'll unleash it onto the world, and then the world will decide whether it's great or hot garbage.
I would say real quick, I would just say, like, to me, what's fun is, like, because I was in Chattanooga and independent, you know, I think of Humanaut as like an experiment of, like, what if we just did it the way it should be done, or went out of business? You know, like, what if we just did it how it should be done? And I feel very lucky I've been able to protect that.
Right. That's hard.
Yeah, but it's super rewarding, and it's fun to be able to have such a great team and great work that we sleep well and we don't work past 5. I mean, it's just like you can't be a stressed creative person. It's like an oxymoron.
No, exactly. I mean, we've covered a lot of reasons why a brand should work with you. I want to talk about talent a little bit, why they should be putting the agency on their list. Obviously, you've covered off on a few really important points. What else would you add to that?
Yeah, you know, like, I'm surprised. You know, in the early days, Chattanooga was a tougher sell. Now, in this sort of post-COVID world, it's Chattanooga's one of the top places to live if you like the outdoors, if you like sunshine. You know, but yeah, I mean, I think, you know, for creatives, I think it has become so. I think of creatives as the canary in the coal mines in society. It's like we feel the ickiness first, and man, I think creatives out there are so feeling just like, what am I making? Who is it for? And on top of that, we're not even making, we're making decks, you know? And so I look at it as like, do you want to work on, like, a brand that you actually are like, this brand is killer, they matter, they're good people. And then do you want to, because we're a production company and I could walk you into my studio where we build the walls and the sets and have like sawdust and like people hammering things, and like we're shooting and editing. It's like, do you want to make something again? You know? And so we have, like, you know, people who are 2 years out of school, and they're like on sets calling lines out to try, you know, like, it's like we get to just make things. And so I think it's
that's your recruiting pitch right there for people who've been in the biz for a while. Do you want to make things again?
Do you remember making things? Remember that was a thing, a skill that we had? Cause it's, it's sad.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's move on to this. Do you consider yourselves weirdos, misfits, or underdogs, or a combination of?
Yeah. I mean,
you got to pick one. You got to pick one.
I'll pick one. I mean, yeah, underdog for sure. I mean, I think Humanaut's always punched way above our weight. I mean, we are like a 30-person shop. We are tiny, right? And now that said, we hire like 150 plus people for crew, for hair, makeup, which is awesome. But yeah, I think we're underdogs that work with underdogs, right? I mean, our clients are all we're helping brands who need to grow rapidly, raise awareness, and hit sales, and are challenging these huge legacy players. And so we're underdogs. We work with the underdogs, and you know what's great about the underdogs is, like, they just care so much, you know. And
yeah,
I've just always said, you know, because I started this agency when, like, I was young, and I had to think about, like, man, am I equipped to do this? Like, these brands are trusting me. And I realized, like, at one point, I'm like, okay, all you really need to succeed, and this is for anyone else, is like you need to be smart. You got to be smart enough. And I'm like, okay, I'm smart enough. You need to be honest. Can you just tell the truth? And then can you care more than anybody else? And I basically was like, well, I might not be the smartest, but I'm pretty sure I'm more honest and I care more than anybody else. And so I think we're the very best, no matter, there's no better people to work with than us.
Right.
And I think that that's the underdog mentality, is like, we're just going to figure it out. And it's, we're not going to stop. Right.
Right.
And I think you can feel when you watch Humanauts work, there's this sort of passionate urgency that's palpable in the work. Cause it's like, it's all our energy. It's like, we're like milking every second to get more and push our edits and, just, because the reality is, like, when our work, it has to work. Every dollar matters, because we don't have the luxury of just like pumping out a ton of money around a spot that's going to wear in. Like, our work's not going to wear in. So every moment that someone sees it is like precious moments to then, as we say, get good things inside people's brains. It's like, we got to get in there and then impact the heart and motivate a change in behavior, which is, buying something that matters.
Exactly. A little thought exercise to finish, whether they are a current client or not. Who's a CMO or marketer you want to say hello to?
I think that Dave's Killer Bread is like the coolest kind of a sleeper brand.
He's out my way.
Yeah. Just really, we work so much in organic. I'm on the board for Organic Voices. And so, just love the product and just seems like one of those brands, like, man, that could be a big brand.
It is out here. I mean, out here in Oregon, it is, because that's where he's based.
Yeah. But it's like, it's like, it can be, and it's not that they like aren't doing well.
No. I know what you mean though, because like you go to Nashville, then it would be like, oh my God, that would be perfect.
They could be the coolest bread in Walmart, right? In Costco. And like, and of course I love to when more people are buying organic, right? It's like, so that's one.
I like that. That's a solid one. Well, from one Dave,
I'll just say Bass Pro is a really interesting, mysterious one that I think would be, especially because we're in Tennessee and a lot of nature and outdoors. Like, that one is like an interesting one that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, bass fishing. Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah. That's very much a thing. Oh my goodness. It's so fun. Well, I'm so glad we're able to catch up. And honestly, like legit, that half pop stuff, you're right. It is a little bit of a deep cut, but that's a little bit of a cut of our jib. But
I like that. Most people would reference, like our liquid death work and whatnot. But man, some of those old ones, we had our 10-year anniversary not long ago, and I got to go through those past things, and I was like, some of this stuff still is like real bangers, which is
it's great. And that's what I've loved is that you have a point of view, you have a position, and it helps brands a lot. David, really appreciate your support of what we're doing over here, and best wishes for continued success, my man.
Thank you, man. Really enjoyed it. Super fun. And we'll talk again.